So, in order to get my body in rhythm, my training partner is going to be in a supine position like so. I'm going to take my right hand to the hip and my left hand to the knee. I start with an action of bringing my foot to Vinny's hamstring. So from here, I jump forward and my right leg takes the inside position on his hamstring. Then I come back out and my hands switch position to left hand to the hip, right hand to the knee, and my left foot comes forward and finds inside position on the hamstring. We come back and forth, and the goal here, guys, is not for speed. It's to get in a rhythm and to get a specific target for my shin. That target is always going to be the back of the hamstring. If you fall shallow of that target, he can always negotiate inside position, re-pommel on you. So this drill, guys, it teaches you the mechanics of having a specific target to pommel that leg inside in the same way in which you had a specific target for your upper body when you did your upper body pommeling. So again, hand to the inside position, right hand inside of the knee. I lunge forward and I'm always aiming my shin for the back of the hamstring back to a square position. My hands switch and we're aiming for that specific target every single time. We're gonna go 10, so go 5 to the left, 5 to the right, go as slow as you need to do it accurately, and then switch top and bottom. We'll go for a couple minutes just to get our lower body firing. Good? 1, 2, 3, let's go. Thank you. So the idea I wanted to give you guys is one that you can not only apply to this leg locking position, but your jiu-jitsu overall. So a few years ago, John explained to us that winning positions in jiu-jitsu is much like that of a foot race, right? A competitive foot race. And Vinny's very clear on what I want to do. I'm very clear on what he needs to do to defend that. So, for example, in a backstep situation where I want to enter cross ASHI, there's no secrets anymore. It's not like 5 years ago where we have that advantage, right? Vinny knows that if I get my knee behind his, I have cross ASHI. Vinny also knows that if he gets his knee to the floor, now the floor protects him, so I can't scoop under his knee and get to cross ASHI. So there's a race here, right? I have to get my thigh wedged under Vinny's knee. He's got to get his knee to the floor. And therefore, there's this race of who's going to get there first. So the best way, as John explained it, to win any competitive race is to cheat, okay? If we're having a foot race and we were racing 50 yards, whether Vinny's faster than me or not, I'm going to start the race 30 yards ahead. So that if he's faster than me, I'm probably still going to win. And if I'm faster than him, well, now I'm going to win by a lot. So one way that we do that is first by pinning the bottom hip. In order for Vinny to get his knee to the floor, go ahead, you'll notice that the other hip has to move. So if I want to control Vinny's top leg, I can do so by controlling the bottom hip. So when Vinny goes to put that knee to the floor, far more difficult to do now. So I pin that bottom hip with my knee driving over Vinny's thigh. Now comes the part of the distance. How do I cheat in this competitive race? Well, from here, if I go to backstep as Vinny goes to get that knee to the floor, it becomes a game of who's faster, and I can't really afford to rely on that. So one thing I do is I minimize that distance to my target. If my target is my left knee behind Vinny's knee, what I do from here is I hit a shoelace pommel where I pommel my shoelaces on top of Vinny's thigh. And as a result, now my knee just went very, very close to the target. So even if Vinny's faster than me, there's absolutely no way that he gets to the floor before my knee finds a home underneath his, whether he's faster than me or not. Because we've cheated so far ahead in this foot race that we're going to win every time. So, from this split squat position, I first start by pinning my knee to the floor over his thigh. Then I bring my hips slightly forward so I can hit a shoelace pommel with my shoelaces on top of his thigh. Now as we begin this competitive race for knee position, it's so easy for me to always beat him and get my knee as a wedge behind his. From here, guys, we're going to collect the second leg. We're going to pull at the knee and the ankle. We're going to take a seat, and we find ourselves in a good cross ASHI GARAMI position. So again, we're starting this drill from supine. We'll start with a hand on the hip and a hand on the knee. We move into our split squat position just like we did in the warm-up. From here, I draw my body forward and I hit a shoelace pommel. Now I wedge my knee or thigh underneath his. When he goes to get it to the floor, it's too late. We collect the second leg, we lace up, and now we're ready to go. Everyone clear? 1, 2, 3, let's go. So there are two main back steps I use, and one is based on this pinning action where I'm able to get inside position and pin this bottom leg, and as a result we back step into the top leg. But sometimes it's difficult to get inside position, and even more difficult to get that total pin of that bottom hip. So you need to have a plan from a seated opponent where I can't put Vinny flat on his back and I can't maintain inside position long enough to pin that hip. So what we look to do is first I want to get his knee from facing outward to facing the ceiling, because I need to occupy the real estate underneath his thigh. If his knee is pointing out, he's closer to his target. He can easily get that knee to the floor, and now the floor gets in my way. So the first thing I do is I make this knee point to the ceiling. From here, I just take a collar tie. I can take an inside post with my left hand, and I give him a shift towards my left-hand side, and it brings his knee up to the ceiling. Now from here, when I steal inside position, let's think about getting as close to our target as possible. If I have inside position here and my hips are square to Vinny's, look at the amount of distance I have to travel to get my knee behind his. It's quite a ways to go. And on anyone good, they're certainly not going to let that happen. So we come out, we make his knee point up, I take inside position, but I angle my body side on. And as a result, you can see my knee is much closer to the target than if I was square to Vinny, and I have to travel all the way in this half circle. So when I step in, guys, I step in side on. Now from here, I keep a wedge, an inside position with my hand on the knee, so that as he goes to bring this knee to the floor, that bottom leg is pinned. So it gives me more than enough time to take my leg around the corner and put it as a wedge underneath his knee. Now from here, same drill. We collect the second leg, we take a seat, and now we're ready to go. So again, my three protocols. Number one, I want a knee going from facing outward to facing the ceiling. Number two, I want some type of pin on that bottom hip. In the last move, we used our knee. In this move, we're using our hand. And then number three, we want to shorten the distance of our target. I want to get my knee as close to the target as possible before this race begins. So we come out, we take a collar tie, we hit a shift, and that knee is up. Number two, we step inside on, and I put a wedge on that bottom leg. Now, I bring my knee as close to the target by turning my body side on, and it's an easy movement for my knee to find a home under his thigh. We collect the second leg, take a seat, and now we're in very good position. Any questions, guys? 1, 2, 3.
I don't wanna be rude, but I don't give a damn about you one bit, and to think you used to have it all. Funny how the tables turn around. You check it for me on the internet, I know you do it. Can't believe I made it with the music. I know, probably think about me all the time. Probably think you're drowning in the sorrow. Now I get it. Your intentions were so good.